Okay, so tonight's class is on the profound subject of reality. So when we meditate, we can watch the experience of meditating. We all do that because if somebody asks us, have you just been meditating? We can say yes. So there's a part of the mind watches the observation of meditation, the doing of the meditation. And when we're mindful in our daily life, we can notice that there are stories that we make up. We interpret information through our senses and our mental imagery and thoughts, and we make up stories about me, I, self. And we interpret people's body language and facial expressions, and we think, oh, what I said there was clever or impressive, or people thought that was silly or stupid, or that fell flat. There may be people who disagree. We develop some doubt, and then we decide that this little story of me includes me not being sure about certain things. We've interpreted things as children and misinterpreted lots of things as children. We've misinterpreted lots of things as adults. We know that because people misinterpret us. And all those misinterpreted events go into part of our story. So quite a lot of our story is wrong. We know for a fact that some of our story about ourselves comes from misinterpreting and misunderstanding information we receive. We also try to justify things to ourselves. We tell ourselves stories to make ourselves feel better. I only did this because of that. This happened because of this. And if only for X, Y would have happened. So we rationalize and justify things in ways that may be right, but are not, certainly not necessarily true. Facts. And we develop a story of who we are, often via our occupation, our social standing. If we are we hold any titles, special positions, doctor, mayor, prime minister, MP, councillor, all these different titles, they form part of our story. And whether we think we're being a good or bad person forms part of our story. I'm a bad person, I'm a good person. A lot of the things we were told as children, which are just not true, but they're in the moment said. I'm a loud person, I'm a naughty person, I'm a cheeky person, I'm a fun person. And we build the story. And we wear this like a cloak. And it's very difficult for us to check if it's true. It's the focus of psychotherapy, counselling, whether these things are true or not. We hold them very tightly. They form our identity, and without them, we very much have an identity crisis. We feel very disconcerting to be unemployed or retired or without a partner after a number of years or whatever it might be. So who am I? And actually, we're all a story. Paul, David, John, Philip, Claire, all just or just a story. And we all hold a story to each other, and we all have a story of who our parents are, which is very different from the story their friends have of them, or their parents had of them. But we never question these stories. We don't question these stories. Very disconcerting to question these stories. Because what we believe to be a firm reality starts to crumble and wobble. We start to doubt the fabricated story we get comfort by, even if it's a horrible story. We get comfort in the fact that there is a story. There are some boundaries and edges and understandings, even if they're misunderstandings. And the same occurs in dreams. There are the dream stories. The dream is a story, and there are people in it who have their own stories. We have our own story in that dream, being chased or whatever it might be. So even the dream self exists as a story. I have to do this, I must do that, I'm a teacher, I'm a farmer or policeman. We don't exist in dreams separate from the story. How is the story of the waking world any more true than the story of the dream world? How is it any more fixed? We've got all these justifications, interpretations, misapprehensions, misunderstandings, interpretations of everything someone says. How is this whole story of self and other any more inherent, fixed, true than the one in the dream? Is it separate from our mind? The dream one we know isn't. The waking story we believe is out there waiting to be discovered. And all the things that we build up are true. Our social beliefs, our political beliefs, they solidify and become truths. Or they become right. We're going to relax our body. Bring awareness to your body. There's stories about this, don't we? It's tall, it's short, it's fat, it's narrow. It doesn't work properly, it works well. It weighs this. It's had this many injuries. There's stories that make up this body. And thoughts, the mind, start to watch our thoughts. We have a story about our mind. It's busy, it's quiet, it's annoying, it's peaceful. We're intelligent, we're not intelligent. We have mental illness, we don't have mental illness. We tell stories about what is in effect a series of momentary mental appearances, none of which stick around. we start to build up this self like this. We have stories externally, we have stories internally about our body and our mind. Now we're going to bring our awareness to our feelings. How do we feel? Where do we feel it right now? We have stories about our feelings. I'm an angry person. I'm a loving person. I have anxiety. I'm racked with fear, nervous. I'm emotionally stable, unstable. We have these stories that we attach to this idea of self. All these little stories. They're snapshots of moments in time and they become a collage, fixed identity. And in any moment, there's not much. There's not much we can call story, our story in any moment. There's a bit of thought, there's a bit of feeling, there's a body. Maybe it aches, maybe it's relaxed. Everything else is from the past and has gone. And yet we hold it to be an absolute truth of this person. In any moment, our story includes so little. And all those millions of past momentary stories have gone. And yet we pick bits out of them and decide they're us, and other bits we let go and decide they were not us. Or other people decide certain parts are us. So it's like we're a pinboard of stories. We put some on, and other people, like family, teachers, they put some on there, and then it's what we are. Our identity becomes these bits that have been shaped, emphasized, solidified. And all the others are washed away. No less valid, no less part of us, just being washed away. They didn't go on the board. They didn't make it. It's just body, thoughts, and feelings. We get something like cancer, or we have a stroke, it becomes, it's like our story is rewritten. We are a cancer patient or a stroke victim. And it becomes the majority of our story. It doesn't have to be, but socially that's what happens often. Who writes the story? Who gets to say what the story of you or me is? If we want something to be a small part of our story, for us, that's the way it is. For other people, their story of us will be what their story of us is. Now we're going to relax the body. Bring awareness to your face. We have a story for our face, don't we? Handsome, ugly, neutral, tired, wrinkled, smooth, long, round, with these are all subjective. We solidify them as a firm story. So relax your face. It's none of these things outright. And we're going to relax our limbs all the way down the left arm, fingers. Check the tension and relax the left arm. And now from the right arm down, all the way down. And the left hip, scan down, scan all the way down. The left leg, relaxing the thigh, the calf, and the feet and the toes. And the same now from the right side, from the right leg. Now bring your awareness to your shoulders and neck. Allow that to relax. And we imagine black smoke swirling around inside of our body cavity. Bound up in this black smoke is our mistake of solidifying all these arbitrary stories as truths, as facts. Some of it makes us happy, some of it makes us sad, but it isn't true. So this black smoke, all bound up in it, is this propensity to cling to stories that are parts and errors and mistakes and arbitrary things. And with 3 nice steady deep breaths, we visualize this black smoke billowing into the distance and taking with it this tendency to cling to a particular bits of a series of moments, our story. As we breathe out, this black smoke billows into the distance, and with it, clinging to these particular bits of the story. Why are we this? Why are we that? Why did we not attach ourselves to this bit of the story or that bit of the story? Or what they said or she said or he said? Why did we attach to certain bits and not others? And why does that make them more true than the bits we didn't pick up on or emphasize? Now as we breathe in, imagine sparkling golden light coming in through the nostrils. It has the power to uplift our mind and allow us to treat our story lightly, not to dismiss it, but to treat it lightly, to wear that cloak, that story, to wear it lightly and gently. As we breathe in, sparkling golden light starts to spread through the body and the mind. Wherever it goes, it allows us to feel lightly about our story. About the criticisms, the judgments, the negative parts of the story, and the positive ones, to treat them equally lightly. With the last few in-breaths, we imagine that story is washed away. We just gently put it down for now. That story of identity, this bit and that bit. In a relaxed, happy way, we recognize the arbitrariness of it all. The mind can still and relax without clinging to stories, because when they've all fallen away, the only thing left is peace. The only thing left that we always find is stillness, contentment. And this consciousness is always knowing, rather than nothingness. Still knowingness. Okay, now we're going to come to our breath. Follow the breath in, follow the breath out. It's coming into a body, it doesn't have to come into a story attached to a body. Just let the breath in and let it out. Bring our awareness into our nostril linings. We notice it's cool as we breathe in and warm out. Just breathing and relaxing. Bring the mind back to the breath if it wanders away. Now we bring our awareness to the rims of the nostrils. Noticing the cool and warm sensations at the rims of the nostrils. We have a story about ourselves as a beginner, intermediate, advanced, experienced, deep, shallow, meditator, whatever it is. We can just let go of all stories about us as a meditator. Just completely focus simply on sensations of the rooms of the nostrils, just the breath and its sensations. We can let go of all our labels about how we sleep. Insomniac, heavy sleeper, light sleeper, late sleeper, early sleeper. Whether we're a worrier, anxious, depressed. Just for now, we can just very lightly put them down. They're arbitrary, they're created. You can't create them, just leave them and breathe. Observe the breath. The mind wanders away, we just come back. Let all labels, all stories fall away. Just focus on the breath. Nothing can stick to the consciousness that watches the breath, because it's prior to labels and ideas and stories. It's not of them. It's not of any of them. It's as pure as spring water. It always has been, it always will be. Colourless, stainless awareness that just watches. And when it feels comfortable, very gently allow your eyes to open when it feels comfortable. Notice the first few thoughts that arise are just bits of story. Just let them go. We don't need them for now. Like sticky labels, we don't need to stick on. So we can remain mindful of this in the coming days. What story, what we want to keep, what we don't want to keep, what we did let go of, and what people stuck on us as if they're like post-its. Some went in the bin, some stuck on us. Just arbitrary. Right. Thank you very much.